My name is Charlie King, and I just got finished with my senior year. And although I had a decent year in my eyes, I really just didn't get the exposure I needed in high school. So with that being said, when it comes to making a college decision, I gotta take what I can get. My number one thing was finding a school that was going to play me. I didn't want to ride the bench. I knew I was a 2-star. I knew I was gonna have to work for what I can get, but I need somewhere where I have opportunity. Being a 2-star was hard because I knew I had no chance in starting for any big school, but seeing with my own eyes that I wouldn't even be able to start for a smaller school was kinda getting to me. I guess it's something that I always knew in the back of my head, having the low exposure that I had. So in my mind, it only made sense to go with the one place that was gonna offer me second string to start off. So come signing day, I would be signing with Northwestern University. In my first practice after arriving on campus, I would already be battling to keep my QB2 spot. And I knew if I could prove myself off rip that I could possibly end up in that QB1 spot by the end of the season. But if I wanted that to be the case, I was gonna have to start working on my decision making. I was now gonna be going up against some of the top athletes in the country, and making the wrong read could get me lit up. But it would be this drill in particular that welcomed me to college football. This is where I learned that scrambling in high school and scrambling in college is completely different. But even with my struggles on the scrambling drill, I would still show coach what I could do everywhere else, and by the end of practice I had secured my QB2 spot. And a couple days after practice, I would receive this message from my teammate, and although it kinda seemed like he was joking, I had to let him know that I was coming for that spot. But I guess you could say that he didn't like my response at all. Come week 2's practice, I was starting to feel more comfortable and I was really settling in on campus. And of course, getting used to the environment outside of football was helping me with football as well. Because as a quarterback, you really need to be clear-headed, and thinking about school and settling in and all the other factors can really mess with your decision making. And although I wasn't making the perfect decision every time, I was still feeling way more comfortable than I was week 1. But the biggest challenge of week 2 was really trying to decide what I was gonna do with my time off the field. I now not only have football to worry about, but I also have to worry about my GPA and my team. So I made the decision that for now I'm gonna put school first, and in my free time I would spend some time with my teammates. But game day was finally here, and we'd be going up against Miami at home. But as expected, I would not play a single snap, even though it was a beatdown. But I was hoping that if games kept going like this, that coach would be willing to make some changes. So for now, I needed to keep my head down and focus on the things that I could control. So every day I would go as hard as I can at practice. And I was starting to develop some chemistry with my receivers. I just wanted to be as prepared as possible so when my number got called, I'd be ready. But unfortunately for me, my number wouldn't be getting called anytime soon, and on top of that, we would be losing games. And nothing hurt more than feeling like I could be out there helping my team win, but just not getting a chance to get in. But at least things were going better off the field, and I was actually doing pretty good in school. Along with that, I was developing a leadership role with the practice team, and I really built chemistry with my teammates as well. But as more weeks went by, more game days went by, and it was always the same result. No matter how bad we were getting beat, coach would just not put me out on that field. And at this point, I was growing extremely frustrated. I loved my team, but if I ain't getting the chance to play, not even in blowout games, then why am I even here? And with all this football stuff on my mind, I was even starting to lose focus in the classroom, which meant I now had even more to worry about. But in week 7, in a game against Wisconsin, I would finally get to touch the field. We were already getting blown out by 28 points, but my goal was to show coach what I could do. I was being patient, staying in the pocket, and just hitting the open man. And it would actually be me that led us to our first points of the game in the 4th quarter. And even though we had literally zero chance in winning, I was giving giving every play everything I had, showing off not only my passing ability, but my scrambling ability as well. And even though we would lose by 28, it felt good to finally get out there and get some snaps in. And with coach finally putting me out there, I was starting to gain hope that I would be out there a little bit more. But even with the effort I had shown, game after game, it would be right back to the same thing it was before. We would continue losing, sometimes by a whole lot, and I still wouldn't get back in the game. And once again, it was getting to me and my GPA was suffering because of it. But in the end, even though we were losing on the football field, I still learned a lot from my freshman year. I got used to the college life, the practices, and really learned how to manage my time. But if there's one thing that I learned for sure, it's that I don't want to be here again next year. And with that being said, I'm entering the transfer portal. And with Kennesaw State being the only college that was actually trying to let me play, I easily made my decision and I was on my way to Kennesaw State. After arriving on campus, just like last year, I'd have to prove that I'm worth that QB2 spot. And coach said that if I keep throwing like this in practice, I could even possibly move up to QB1. And even though I didn't play a single snap in our first game up against Wake Forest, when week 2's practice got here, coach gave me a position battle up against our starting quarterback. And I would not be letting this opportunity go to waste. My whole collegiate career so far has somewhat been a disappointment. And my dream has always been to start on a college football team. And I was finally getting that opportunity unlike I did at Northwestern. So I would go hard all practice, do exactly what I needed to do. And by the end of the position battle, I would win and I was now the starting QB. Heading into my first game starting, we'd be up against the FCS Southeast Pandas. And I'd get the game started by handing it off to my running back Binyard for a nice little game. Then on 2nd and 5, I would have my receiver wide open across the middle, but my line doesn't hold up and I get hit. And that would continue to be the case for the rest of the drive as I was trying to look deep and my line just wouldn't give me time. And without my line blocking, the only way I was going to complete a throw is if I got it off while I was being hit. But even with the constant pressure, I was still being patient and hit my receivers right in their hand. And on 2nd and goal, we run this RPO to perfection and I throw my first collegiate touchdown. Next possession, we go back to the play action. I wait on my corner route to develop and I hit him over the top for another touchdown. And as the game went on, the more comfortable I got and the better passes I threw. And in my first start, I would throw for 5 touchdowns, 325 yards on 60% completion. And for now, I couldn't be happier. I not only had a great first game, but I was already super prepared for my exam, and I was doing great leadership-wise on and off the field. But for now, I think that's where we're gonna end today's video. Y'all let me know how y'all are liking this series below down in the comments. I know we didn't actually get to play much to start this series, but this underdog route on College Football 25 is no joke. But y'all give me any suggestions y'all have, and would you like me to make the videos longer? Y'all just let me know all that down below. I'm gonna catch y'all boys next time. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'm out. Peace.